I don't know if you've been keeping an eye on the news or not. I don't know if you're plugged into the general way the world's going. These are divisive times, they say. There's a lot of bad stuff happening. Everybody's on edge. Nobody agrees on anything. So they say. I believe, I hope, I pray that in these divisive, unprecedented times, I pray that we can unite over the fact that Seahawks-Buccaneers yesterday was the most beautiful football game we have seen in quite some time, and those throwback uniforms, that color palette, is also the way of the future. Can we unite over that? Probably not. If I had to guess, we probably won't. But there was some beautiful, bizarre football on our television screens yesterday, and I think we're going to get some aesthetically pretty good and perhaps pretty messy football tonight in Jacksonville with the Chiefs and Jags in prime time. Welcome in to Everything Else. I'm Joshua Brisco, Tucker D. Franklin behind the virtual glass. He'll be out front here in just a little while. Here's my takeaway from spending a full day just with an IV drip of red zone. I don't know if that works with Nate's metaphors. I don't need it to. Red zone can be any kind of drug you need. And we needed it yesterday because it wasn't a beautiful day of football. The games being played were often blowouts or close between bad teams with a couple of, standout games that you did want to keep an eye on. But yesterday is what we need red zone for. You give me a pretty messy, mucky early slate, especially the first half of that early slate. Just bring me the witching hour. Because I know in the witching hour, something crazy is going to happen. I know that in the witching hour, there's going to be a special teams play, a bad pick, back-to-back touchdowns in two different games that I wouldn't be invested in otherwise. It was a beautiful way to consume a Chiefs-free day of football before getting ready for this game tonight, but this is the takeaway. It's not just that the Chiefs only play weird games, as true as that is. I just don't think normal football exists anymore. Maybe it never did, a silly sport where the ball isn't round and whatnot. But there's just not normal lunch pail, handle your business football being played around the league. I know that because I do think that there are a few teams who are better than most of the rest of the league. And I also know there are no undefeated teams left here in week 5. The Eagles and Bills both go down yesterday, and the Los Angeles Chargers, who had the best possible start that you can have in your division, 3-0 with wins over 3 other teams in your division. They dropped 2 in a row to 2 NFC East teams, and now all of a sudden the AFC West is right back in play. We're going to talk about Chiefs-Jags a good amount here today. I already saw one question about Xavier Worthy. I'll tell you what we know on that in a little bit. And then also, we're going to see if I actually get to it. I'm going to really try. First, that Tucker went to Chappell Roan on Friday. I want to hear about how that went. And I'm going to answer a question that I was being asked roughly 4 months ago. I'm going to finally answer it now, which is, should I buy a Nintendo Switch 2? So if you're listening to this podcast Tuesday morning in your podcast feed or whatever after Chiefs-Jags, you can find out if we're right about Chiefs-Jags. I mean, that was a great strategy for listening to the show after Chiefs-Ravens. We nailed that. That had to be a thrill listening to that. And you can know that later on, I'm going to deliver, well, not a definitive take about if the Switch 2 is worth your money or not, because I don't know your money. But we'll talk about it some. I had a very good gaming experience this weekend, and it's not a Nintendo exclusive at all, so that will have a little bit to do with it. But all that to say, I hope the lesson that we all take from yesterday and that we all take into tonight's game in Jacksonville is that there's just no such thing as showing up, getting off the bus, not turning the ball over and going home. I think that works in high school and college. I think you have a pretty good, not a flawless, but a pretty good idea in most college games. Either, hey, these two teams are pretty closely, evenly matched, and it's going to be a game, Or, yeah, I mean, we've got a Power 4 team and a non-Power 4 team, and it's going to take something bonkers for these results to go differently. The NFL doesn't need something bonkers for a game to go opposite the way you expected it to go. The margins are too fine. The players are too good. Everybody and every coaching staff is trying to not get fired. The Arizona Cardinals are a better football team than the Tennessee Titans, and they both deserve to lose yesterday. The Cardinals just deserved to lose more, and ultimately they did. Or if anything, they deserved to lose later, which is really what that game kind of came down to. But the Chargers now have fallen from 3-0 to 3-2. Again, NFC East losses, just kind of wild. The Chargers scored all 10 of their points in the first quarter in a 27-10 loss. And the Commanders scored 27 unanswered from that point on. Amarian Hampton has an ankle injury. He was seen in a walking boot after the game. They've already lost Najee Harris to the Achilles. The Joe Alt return is pending, I suppose. It's not a year-long loss for the season thing like Rashawn Slater. But I think they lost Trey Pipkins for a moment in that game too. It's hard. The fog of red zone, the fog of red zone leaves your head cloudy sometimes. But the Chargers go from in firm control of the AFC West to now just desperately trying to tread water. We knew the Chiefs would be treading water till Rashee Rice came back to some extent. And whatever path the Chiefs take after 6 games, and I still think they're 2-2 right now. I think there's a perfectly reasonable chance they're 3-3 when Rashee Rice comes back. If they're 4-2, we'll be singing songs, and if they're 2-4, it's going to be bleak, but you'll know what's up because the number 1 receiver is on his way back. But the Chiefs knew when their period of water treading would be, and Xavier Worthy getting hurt at the beginning of that really took the air out of their sails. The Chargers now, it's too early to say they're in free fall. I don't think they're going to fall out of contention. I don't think they're going to lose 4 in a row. But they're halfway to it. Meanwhile, I was conflicted watching Broncos-Eagles because both of these teams have a little bit of a funk of fraudulence to me. Not good football teams fraudulence, but just keeping a close eye on how they're winning the games they're winning. Now, the Broncos are 3-2, so the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos could all be tied at the top of the AFC West after tonight if the Chiefs win in Jacksonville. Obviously, the Chargers have the tiebreaker because of the head-to-heads. They'd all be 3-2. The Eagles take their first loss, and Philadelphia had 9 designed runs in this game. 0 for Jalen Hurts. That's crazy. That's really stunning for a team that also has 2 unhappy wide receivers. So the Broncos get the win and the Eagles fall off, leaving only the Bills undefeated going into Sunday Night Football. Then, at home in Buffalo, Drake May gets to have his moment, Mike Vrabel gets to have a moment, and the Patriots beat the Bills in Buffalo, and the AFC is back in question. Again, I think the Bills should still be favored to have the 1 seed. They're definitely still a good football team. Nothing is set in stone. For better and for worse, nothing is set in stone. You just have to prove it every week. It's why what the Chiefs did last year was impressive, even though it was frustrating. It was incredibly impressive despite leaving a lot of fans, and frankly, I'm with you here on this. It says I'm not wagging my finger. It was incredibly impressive while leaving us all a little bit cold. Going, man, it just doesn't feel like it's going very well, even though the results say it's going very well. That's just how it goes. That's just what the NFL is at this point. You want to talk about how quick things can turn? One other game I wanted to highlight from yesterday. Texans 44, Ravens 10. Maybe the Chiefs' offense does stink. They only had, 37 against Baltimore? Obviously, the Ravens' offense through the first 3 quarters of that game was pretty much at full strength with Lamar Jackson. Not the case as Cooper Rush got the start and the game, and the Ravens have 1 win. They're 1-4. I think their season's over. They're going to keep playing it out. They'll have Lamar Jackson. They'll probably get close to playoff contention. Maybe there just needs to be a 7th team in the AFC. Maybe it's not. It's not over. But I just can't imagine how they claw back from that. Without the defense isn't going to get a whole lot better. The offense is going to be better when Lamar comes back. But the Texans looked so aimless all year until their get-right game against the Baltimore Ravens. Bizarre. So, keeping all of that... Oh, also, just wanted to mention, just because I can't believe it on a fundamental level, Darren Waller has 8 catches for 105 yards and 3 touchdowns in 2 games here in the year 2025. Darren Waller, who you may best remember from the last time we talked about him on anything KCSN related that I was involved in, we were going through his divorce song that he released from WNBA player whose name escapes me, who Tucker probably remembers. Was it Kelsey Plum?
Kelsey Plum, yep.
I was afraid to guess and be wrong, but I'm going to take that. Thank you, Tucker. That was the last time that I just remember the Only Weird Games episode where we were delayed in starting. I mean, that's not surprising. That's every week, every show. We were delayed in starting specifically, I think, because we were in awe of what a move it was to release a song about your divorces. I think he was apologizing. I haven't revisited it. I'll tell you what. His music and his football have gotten better in the time since then. His song is okay. And his performance is apparently unstoppable. He's apparently prime Antonio Gates. I don't know. He didn't play football last year. He unretired, joined like one of the most struggling offenses in football in Miami, and has become a touchdown machine. It doesn't matter. You don't need to do anything with your life. You don't need to pick him up in fantasy. I want you to know that that's happening because it's bonkers. With that being said, couple Chiefs-Jags things. We talked about it a bunch on Friday. We'll keep talking about it. We'll do our one worry, one wish with Tucker here. The question earlier in the chat was, hey, do we know what's going on with Xavier Worthy? If you don't know this, Xavier Worthy yesterday, Sunday, popped up on the injury report with an ankle. Ankle/shoulder. Obviously, the shoulder is going to be there all year. The ankle was a weird one. Kind of concerning. Very concerning. Questionable officially with that. Ian Rappaport this morning had this report on NFL Network where he said, quote, kind of just turned his ankle a little bit, woke up swollen. They put it on the report. He is fine. He is expected to go. More of a precaution than anything else. That's according to Ian Rappaport. My, like, one little pinprick in that balloon is just like, if it... What is it precautionary for? He's not being held out of like a practice for that. And you just want to you want to include it because the NFL has rules about things like that. I'm like a 3 out of 10 concerned about it because the shoulder, he can do everything with his lower body that makes Xavier Worthy the fast, explosive player that he is. You take away a little bit of reliance on that ankle, any reliance on that ankle, and his game changes a little bit. His speed changes a little bit. So I will be keeping an eye on that. I'm sure we'll get reports as he's warming up. We'll have all that covered to make sure that we're just sort of keeping an eye on his status. Seems like he should certainly be active for this game. But man, even knowing that we were looking at the Ravens defense as sort of a funhouse mirror of evaluating opposing offenses, everything looks bigger and scarier against the Ravens defense, I guess. Even with that in mind, it's incredibly evident what he brings to the team. We talked about this on Monday, I'm sure. The impact of him having the ball in his hand and the impact he has on the defense as a whole and the impact that has on the rest of the Chiefs' offense, that's real. That's a very important part of this offense. We saw how they struggled without him. We saw how they started coasting with him. That's enormous. And this is a much better defense than the one the Chiefs played last week. So I'm going to stay worried about Xavier Worthy until the game goes final. I was going to say until he catches a couple of passes. Even then, you want to see him get through it in good shape. And if he's got ankle swelling this week, it's one fewer day to get ready for the Lions next week. This is a heavy couple of games here for the Chiefs. Slightly shorter week 2 primetime games in a row, and then you have the return of Xavier Worthy, hopefully lightening the load from there. So something to keep an eye on. Also, Ian Rappaport said that Trayvon Walker, quote, feels to me like a long shot, unquote, after Walker had wrist surgery this week. Josh Hines-Allen is still their most disruptive pass rusher, but Trayvon Walker is a big deal, so we'll keep an eye on that. He was practicing with a full-on cast a couple of days ago. That was kind of a wild-looking club on his hand. So we'll keep an eye on that as well as the injury report comes around. But Rappaport said this morning, Worthy seems like a precaution. Walker seems like a long shot. Here's one other thing just to mention on the kind of Worthy adjacent front in terms of how I've been looking at the Jags these last several days. The Jags defense is good. It is not all smoke and mirrors. That would not be fair. I think it is some smoke and a few mirrors, which is probably true about a Steve Spagnuolo defense too, right? You can use smoke and mirrors to your advantage. That's allowed. But I think you have to find, and this is where Worthy is such a big deal, you have to find something easy on offense, and the Chiefs' running game has not been easy all year, and the Jags' defense is not a run defense to find something easy against. You have to have an easy button, something you can go back to without it always feeling like a major risk or too many plays to move down the field. This can be a couple of deep shots. Worthy and Tyquan Thornton, if you can score in one play and cover 60 yards in one play instead of having to do that in 10 or 12 plays against this Jaguars defense, that'll make your life easier. You don't want to give the Jags extra opportunities to take the ball away from you, and you cannot put it in danger. Because I think when you put the ball in danger, the Jags have shown that they're going to take it. The Chiefs haven't put the ball in danger very often this year. That Mahomes pick shouldn't have been a pick. It was a Travis Kelce pick. I would like to see the Worthy-Thornton combo move the offense in some chunks, and I would like to see something relatively reliable, relatively easy. Just let the offense roll. Defensively, don't let Brian Thomas Jr. get right here. He's too dangerous. He's too dynamic. If I was Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence and Brian, I would have BTJ in a room or on the field, and we would be figuring out as much as humanly possible because he has that kind of game-breaking potential. He just hasn't broken a game yet this year. Don't let it happen against you. I think the Chiefs secondary is in a good enough place that that's not going to happen, but it's the thing that you fear. You fear the turnovers and the big plays that you could allow defensively. That seems relatively straightforward. We'll keep it straightforward and bring you our worry and our wish, one of each. Actually, I have a second worry, so we're going to bring you at least 2 wishes and at least 3 worries after we take our first time out, and then we'll be joined by Tucker D. Franklin next on everything else.
Looking to remodel your home and in search of a top-quality company to do the job? Contact Elenco. Since 1986, Elenco has been the remodeler of choice for customers throughout Kansas and Missouri. As a family-owned and operated business, Elenco provides customers top-quality products and unbeatable service straight from their family to yours. From windows and doors to siding, insulation, and bathroom renovations, there's no need that Elenco can't meet and exceed. Elenco only installs products that have proven track records of success, such as the Kohler Luckstone shower system. Elenco's installers are factory-trained professionals who know how to get the job done, not only quickly, but flawlessly. Whether you're located in Kansas City, Topeka, Wichita, or a rural town in northeastern Kansas or western Missouri, Elenco will come to you. Go to elencohome.com for more information. That's ALENCO home.com. Again, elencohome.com for more information and contact them about all your home improvement needs.
What's up, guys? I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network, and I'm here to talk to Kansas City businesses. If you rely on technology, you need an IT support team that's not just another vendor, but a true IT partner. That's how I want to introduce you to my friend and neighbor, KJ Miller. He is a VCIO at ThrottleNet, the Midwest's highest rated and most reviewed IT support company. They've been in business for more than 25 years, helping companies stay secure, productive, and ahead of the curve. They aren't just IT support, but they provide data security, IT strategy, and cloud software services. They do it all, and their reviews show they do it better than anyone else. So if you want to hear about how ThrottleNet can help your local business, join the conversation with myself, KJ Miller from ThrottleNet, and our resident genius from KC Sports Network when it comes to IT, at least as he's affectionately known by us, Mr. Craig Stout. Click the link in the description to hear how ThrottleNet can help you.
You know what happened during the break there, Tucker? I was reaching back to my collection of pens and pencils and stuff over here, and when I turned around, I smashed my elbow on the desk, which did not feel good. You know what I said? Ow! Ow! One worry, one wish time here on everything else. Everything I said was true. I did hit my elbow, and it did hurt, and I did say ow, and then I went, hey, that's a segue. I'm gonna go ahead and just rip the first one here, Tucker, because we got 5.
Yep.
The thing I'm worried about is that it's a sloppy game in the rain in a swamp, that there's a couple of weird turnovers, and the Jags jag. I think that is the best path for a Jaguars victory in this game. So that is my prevailing worry as things stand right now.
I'm glad you brought that up because we haven't really talked about the weather a whole lot that's been going on in Jacksonville. I talked with Mia O'Brien down there in Jacksonville, was on our podcast, Club 904. I think they're the Jags station down there too, at the radio station down there, the home of the Jags. And she was talking about how it's been windy, it's been stormy all weekend down there in Jacksonville. And currently there should be some thunderstorms going on, but it looks like it should be cleared up by the time the game kicks off. But still, wet conditions down there. I think that's a really keen observation there, Josh. My worry for this game is, kind of on the same suit as yours, but I'm just worried that this offense looks bad again. And I'm worried that this offense looks bad and they were only good because they were playing the Ravens. That is the big worry that I have, that I keep thinking about. And I don't really know if that thought came to me until they played the Houston Texans, and the Houston Texans were just like, oh yeah, we've got 5 traffic cones out here, but we can still block these guys and we can still do all of this. That all of a sudden became a worry of like, oh no, maybe the Ravens were just really bad on defense and it made the Chiefs look really good.
The Ravens don't even have I should say it this way. The Cincinnati Bengals no longer have the worst defense in the AFC North.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we're at right now. I had a similar fear just having to watch that game. And the Texans this year, scored 9 points against the Rams, 19 points against the Bucks, 10 points against the Jags, 26 points against the Titans, and then 44 against Baltimore.
Yeah.
They scored more points against the Ravens than they did in weeks 1 through 3 combined. That does also leave me concerned.
Yeah.
My bonus worry is a selfish one, but also a collective one.
Okay.
I'm not just worried about weather. I'm worried about a weather delay. Because if there's lightning in the midst of this football game, whatever the storm is, whatever rain they'll play through rain. It'll be sloppy. They'll play through it. If we get lightning shortly before kickoff, I'm not even gonna inflate this. I'm gonna tell you the truth, and then I'm gonna text some people after. I don't know what that means for the Chiefs radio network. I don't know if that means I gotta have some material. I don't know if that means I need a tight 10. I don't know if that means Mitch Holthus, Dana Hughes, and Josh Klingler carry the ball the rest of the way. I think if it's in the game, it's probably gonna stay in the booth with them. I don't know if we got some back. I don't know. I'm realizing as I was preparing for the show this morning. Actually, I thought about it yesterday. Like, do I need to text some of those fellas and ask what we need to be prepared for in case this does happen? It's also a primetime game, and so any 45-minute delay is just moving that deeper and deeper into the evening. It's also an East Coast primetime game, so it's going to be late local as well. I don't know. I'm just that's my selfish worry here, is that I would like for this game to start on time and then to conclude in uninterrupted fashion. And if we get that, there could be some bad things, but that's the one I'd like to also avoid.
That's a great point.
Why don't you give me a wish?
I'll give you a wish. My wish is that the offense is actually good, and it's not just because they played the Ravens who actually suck. That is my wish, is that the offense is actually good. You brought up the Worthy injury a little bit. It is a bit concerning. I don't think I'm as concerned as maybe you or the chat is, truthfully. I don't know why. It was one of those things where the Chris Jones thing was obviously very weird last week, where he gets thrown on there, but then like no game day designation. This getting a game day designation was something that like caught my attention. I was like, oh, why would they? If he just got off the plane and his ankle was swollen, then why does this have a game day designation? It could also just be because of just like protocols. Maybe precaution wasn't the right word from Ian. Like when you go back and you like listen to him and like maybe in context, I don't know if he necessarily used the right word as precautionary. Yeah. He might have been protocol for is what he meant, which would make a little bit more sense when talking about like his explanation. I think if you substitute protocol with that, which 100% I think it probably is. But I think that Xavier Worthy will be fine. I talked about this with West Wilson on the stream just the last week, where the offense opening up with Xavier Worthy on the field makes it so much better. But yeah, that's what I am wishing for this offense to just be like, oh yeah, we remember who we are.
Right. I have to imagine you laughed at the comment that I just saw that I'm going to acknowledge in the midst of this segment from Jackie. Yep. Are we going to talk about Mark Sanchez today? Jackie, I don't even know how. I thought about it. I meant to text Tucker this morning just in the midst of like the rundown and the show setup. Like, have you seen the Lily's worked up? Lily's worked up right now. Over there. Tucker, did you see the alleged pictures of the alleged 69-year-old man who was allegedly the one on the receiving end of that?
Allegedly, Jordan Foote told me about these alleged pictures, but allegedly I didn't go and allegedly see them.
I have allegedly seen them, and it's like worse than I thought the story made it sound, and the story sounded pretty bad. I don't know. So, Jackie, my official formal answer is that we just discussed it as much as we probably will today because it's so weird. It's so bizarre. And the way that it started coming out early was very strange. And the way, you found him? Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's really bad. It started weird. People made a real ass of themselves on social media really urgently, which is not weird, actually. That's the most normal part of this story. And then the way everything after that has happened, I don't know. So we might eventually, but I don't have enough confidence that I know what the bleep is going on than right now. So we'll reconsider later. Here's the thing. It went from like kind of a weird bad story to like maybe just a weird story to a weird worse story, I think, is what happened when I saw the pictures and stuff today. So we'll just see what happens. I don't know.
Let that one play out. We'll just let that one play out. We won't rush to have takes like a lot of people. We'll just let that one play out.
Man, there's one really specific one I want to ask you about, but I don't want to invoke this dude's name on the show today. So I'm not gonna. Here's my wish. This wasn't a segue, but now it kind of feels like one. How about no freak injuries and no mental meltdowns? Is how I wrote it earlier, not knowing that we'd be segueing away from the Mark Sanchez topic. The Chiefs in Jacksonville, the last like 3 things I remember happening to the Chiefs in Jacksonville, correct me if I'm wrong here, Tucker.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill, sternoclavicular injury. Jawan Taylor, back at home, snowballing penalty meltdown. Hollywood Brown, sternoclavicular injury.
Yeah.
That's what I remember happening in Chiefs-Jags games in recent years. Obviously, preseason in there as well. Just none of that. Let's just get out of here without anything weird. Look, man, I don't really believe in curses and jinxes and that kind of thing. I'm knocking on wood, my fingers are crossed, throwing salt, whatever.
Yeah.
Xavier, I don't really believe in him. Xavier Worthy's going to Jacksonville with a torn labrum and a weird ankle thing. Just get home. Get home and feel good. Get home and you got 6 days for a physical Detroit Lions team. So I hope it's, and I'll tell you what, look, if this is another situation for whatever reason, if Juwan Taylor's just like, if he's just not in a place where he can be himself playing in Jacksonville or whatever, they should waste no time going to Jalen Moore. I also think Juwan Taylor deserves a little benefit of the doubt right now because he's on, for him, a clean streak. Yeah, Rachel asked, that injury happened at that stadium twice? It did. And that's not like MetLife's turf, right? Where it's just like, well, ACLs because the turf. It's just how you land and then where your clavicle goes connected to your sternum, I guess. Really crazy. But just give me a relatively clean outing altogether. I want to circle back to a question I saw a little bit ago in terms of like the stakes of this game too. But that's my biggest wish is just nothing crazy from an injury or mental standpoint here. And frankly, I think if they can do that, I think this is probably a Chiefs win.
I would agree with you on that. That is, to Rachel's question really did pop me. That injury happened twice at that stadium. Yeah, it is kind of crazy. The Chiefs have had a pretty good history against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I know people get mad. I went on that Jags podcast, as I was saying, and I was telling Mia about how I say Jaguars, and people don't like how I say Jaguars. And I just started calling them the Jags. I just call them the Jags. But yeah, I do think that they just kind of need to stay. They can't really afford to have any more injuries, right, on either side of the ball. Right. So they are. I don't want to say thin. I don't think they're thin, but they can't really afford to have injuries heading into what's going to be a pretty important stretch of the season here. You got the Lions, you got Commanders, Bills, Raiders, not in that order, obviously, all coming up, all important teams that you're going to want to beat, need to beat.
So I'm going back in terms of like need to beat. This question from Chase from a little bit ago is saying, is this game a must win with Denver winning? I think we have left must-win territory because of the way the AFC West has kind of evened out a little bit. Yeah. I'm kind of sticking, and must is still a big word here. If you're asking, is this a must-win to be in the mix for the AFC 1 seed? Probably. This is an AFC team that's going to be a division contender. If the Chiefs end this game, if the Chiefs leave Jacksonville 2-3, and the Jags are 4-1. It's another team with a head-to-head tiebreaker over them in the AFC seeding. Yeah. Will the Jags keep that pace up the rest of the way? I don't know. The Colts are going to have their chance to get a tiebreaker over the Chiefs later in the year too. So I'm kind of nitpicking on your phrasing here, Chase, and not because it's really wrong. I'm kind of trying to get to like the real core of that. What is a must-win game? Starting 0-3 and losing to the Giants would have been so vibe devastating that we talked about it at the time. That felt like pretty close to a must-win. Beating the Ravens, I don't even think was a must-win. It was would really like to win this if you can. They were an underdog going into that game.
Yeah.
This is a game that I think if the Chiefs win this, you could just as easily argue them as the favorite in the AFC West as anybody else. The Chiefs and Broncos and Chargers will all be 3-2. Again, the Chargers have tiebreakers in their pocket where the Chiefs and Broncos are going to have to even that back up. But I don't think it can be a must-win at this point. I think the Chiefs are out of that danger zone still quite early in the season. But it's close. Like, it's around there where if you want to keep climbing the AFC, being 2-3 behind the 3-2 Chargers and Broncos, you're going to get 2 shots against the Broncos. You get 1 more shot against the Chargers. But that's kind of how I split the difference on that. I don't know what you think, Tucker.
I think it is very interesting how, I mean, you kind of already talked about this a little bit. The Chargers had every opportunity to kind of seize the moment in the start that they had, and they haven't. The Bills, too, when losing to the Patriots, like, that's a weird one. But, like, that was a one that I felt like a lot of people were like, this is definitely going to happen, right? Like, everyone was just like, yeah, this is going to be a game that, like, they drop. This just feels like a game that they're going to be dropped. But, yeah, I think at this point, like, if you are talking 1 seed, especially with the way that the Bills' schedule shakes out, we've talked about that, like, high school teams play harder schedules than the Buffalo Bills do. And I think the Florida Gators might have a tougher schedule than the Bills. But so it's one of those things where you have to seize every opportunity. It's like, it's almost like focusing on the phrasing is like a little bit semantics, right, Josh, when we talk about it, but like that's just how we get content, right, is focusing on phrasing of things. My favorite one is coaching for his job. Is he coaching for his job? Well, yes, his job is coaching, so technically he is coaching for his job. his job is coaching. So yes, and like can't win, must lose. Like those are always very fun conversations to have. Wait, can't lose, must win is what I meant to say.
I
Anyway,
like
you
can't
know
win,
what I'm
must
talking about.
lose. I feel like there's some of those. That's like the Saints are spending the rest of their season in can't win, must lose territory.
Especially after Spencer Rattler pulled that one out. They're like, God, we wanted that number 1 pick. Now we gotta lose.
Yes, you
games."
can't. No, you can't win more games. You've got to stop right here.
Yes,
This
yeah,
has to be
no,
your
but-
ceiling.
Yeah, but you got to take advantage of every opportunity you get, especially with an AFC team like the Jags, a Jags team that is 4-1 right now, or 3-1 right now, going into this game. But yeah, you just have to take every. I don't know if like you're right. I don't think if ever any game's going to be like a must win from here on out. But like they're all like, you got to take advantage of it. You got to take advantage of these opportunities.
Right. I think that's a good way of putting it. And I guess, if you want to make it on the scale of being back in the mix for the 1 seed in the AFC West, or in the AFC, then beating the Bills in November is kind of
gonna be a
must
big one.
win, right? Because
Yeah,
it's like, well, who's going to give the Bills another loss? And you get the head-to-head and all of that. But again, that I think is a couple degrees of separation removed from must win or the season starts sinking. So I appreciate this from Buck and Bob, saying weird compliment, but I really like both your guys' backgrounds. I'm guessing it means Tucker's depth, not Tucker's death, because I really don't want. Is it Tucker's death goes above and beyond? I hope not. I'm not this.
I kind of hope
That would
so,
not.
though. Like,
I mean, it would
like,
be.
it'd be kind of nice if my death did
Well-
go above and beyond, in terms of like,
Yeah,
so you
I
guys
guess
like, had to kind of talk about it for a while.
No, so that's a good point, but that doesn't imply the distant future. If maybe they can see, maybe they know, like, hey, Tucker's death 65 years from now goes above and beyond. They're like, oh, thanks, guys. I wonder how I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
To me, it feels like you might not make it through this episode.
Yeah, the death happens
the tone
on
of
this
the
episode.
comment.
Yeah, and it goes above and
Yeah.
beyond. There's like, yeah, your death in the middle of this podcast goes crazy, dude. It's awesome.
Thank God I do have the power to end the stream now, though, because like for a long time, like doing only weird games and stuff, we just be sitting here going like, all right, Tucker, well, you go ahead and hit that button whenever. Nate's gotten us out of here. Just go ahead and hit that button. And meanwhile, I guess you're dying in a very cool way. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, it would be. Jackie Moon says, talk about viral. Yeah, it better go viral. If I die on stream, it better go viral. That's all I'm saying, guys. That's on you guys. That is on you guys. If I die on stream, you guys have to make it go viral.
If you like have a bite of a snack and start coughing, I'm gonna just clip it, chat, clip it, get this on Live Leak or just Twitter, I guess.
Weston, that football show is going to be posted on Wednesday. I've already had 2 questions in this chat. That football show is on Wednesday. Yeah, the Monday Night Football game. We didn't want to post the podcast and then not talk about the Chiefs game, obviously. So our schedule's all mixed around. I'll tweet out a revised schedule for this week.
That football show is going to be a delight this week. I understand why people are yearning for it, because there was some crazy things that happened. And so if you do want more of a very Chiefs heavy, but then still a national look at the NFL, I really do insist that you listen to that football show. Or alternatively, you can stick around through the next segment break right here when we're going to come back and talk about Chappell Roan and the Switch 2.
Nice. That's a good one. I wasn't ready for it. But thank you.
Chiefs Kingdom, I have got a question for you. What is your favorite touchdown? Well, for me, I can confidently say that my favorite touchdown, it's the next one, because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From the first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. From spreads to money lines, same game parlays, regular parlays, you want it, DraftKings has got it. Here's the best part. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I use DraftKings Sportsbook, and you should too. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Hey, Tucker.
Hey,
You good?
Yeah, no, I'm great.
There's nothing feels better like a quick little typed up joke that feels like may disrupt the beginning of the next segment. Feels so good every time. Not even a joke that is like unfit for public consumption. Just a joke that now doesn't make any sense without the context, and so there's no reason for you can keep that in your back pocket if you need it for again just. I love how much people miss that football show when it's not hitting their feet at expected times. So I'm very, very happy to see the people yearning in the chat for the return of that wonderful program.
I appreciate it as well. Yes, I do.
I straight up didn't know that Chappell Roan until you told me you were going to the first of two shows. Yeah. I didn't know that Chappell Roan was doing a show at the World War I Museum and Memorial out on the lawn there. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that was a thing that we could do in Kansas City. I knew that we had Super Bowl parades that ended at Union Station. This wasn't on the Union Station stage like the parades have been. But from what I saw out there, the stage setup, the crowd looked amazing. All throughout, it looked like an absolute hell of a show out there. How was it?
So, Josh, I don't know how many, like, it was a very festival type feel to it. I don't know how many concerts you've been to that are like outside where you go. What they did there was very cool. So Tara and I ended up parking. We parked a ways away. They encouraged people to park and then use the streetcar to get down. Problem is that when you encourage 35,000 people to use the streetcar, every single streetcar that comes by is absolutely packed. So Tara and I stood at like the Power and Light, the Power and Light streetcar stop for probably 5 minutes. Or there was like 3 cars that went by and they were all like juiced with people. And I was like, Tara, I think that we're probably going to have better luck getting down there if we just walk. And like, it's not, it's like a mile, maybe, if that. So it's like not too bad. It's all downhill, especially from Power and Light. It's all downhill until you get up to like obviously where the monument is and you have to walk up that huge hill. But it was a nice walk, great night, great weather. We went Friday night. I had a wedding. I was going to a wedding from one of my high school buddies on Saturday night. So we ended up going Friday night. It was awesome. Like, just, I don't know how many people are, like, familiar with Chappell Roan. Like, her being from Missouri, she went to Willard High School down in Willard, Missouri. And, like, she's not necessarily, like, everyone would think that she's, like, an overnight success, but she's been doing this for, like, 10, 11 years before, like, her songs popped off. And she's got some really, as a performer, was very impressed with just, like, her voice. And, Josh, you and I talk about this all the time. Like, people that you hear in real life sounding, like, what they do recorded, that's always a very cool thing to see. Brendan Urie, when I went and saw Panic at the Disco, was that right? He's Panic at the Disco. Yes. He was like that. Yep. I remember I was just like, whoa, that's
voice
crazy.
Is crazy.
Yeah. Oh, and he was hitting the high notes and everything. Taylor Swift is much like that too. When we went and saw Taylor Swift, but Chappell was right up there in terms of that.
I'm going to keep that vibe going and say Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy. Dude's voice live is unreal. Ooh. His range is unstoppable. It's unbelievable.
I was very impressed with just the theatrics of this Chappell Roan concert. And like, look, Chappell Roan doesn't have like a huge catalog of music either. And like she has her Midwest Princess album, which was the one that she actually like put it out and then it like didn't do a whole lot. And then she like went, I can't even remember how she like got really popular, but her songs started to take off and then people went back to that one. And that album is like full of just, for lack of a better term, just bangers. Like that album has so many good songs on it. And the way that her her album, or like it was set up as like a very fairy tale whimsical set, and she comes out and as like a damsel in distress. I think it's like visions of damsels and various other things is what like her pop-up shows. And these are pop-up shows that she was doing. She did 4 in New York, 2 in Kansas City, and I think 4 in LA and like Pasadena. So it's like out of all like the shows that she's doing, like she chose Kansas City. I thought it was really cool that 35,000 people there that first night, all on the lawn of the World War I monument. Super cool vibe. There were people outside, like around the World War I monument too, where like, because you could obviously hear it's an outdoor concert.
Right.
You could there's some areas too, like across the street, across from Main Street, that people were like sitting out there where they had their lawn chairs and they were listening to the concert as well. So way more than 35,000 people the first night enjoyed the concert, but 35 people paid attendance. They had food trucks all around. Like when you drive up to the World War I museum and it has like the big, huge, they have food trucks all around there. They had all these drink tents, had a couple different merch tents. The merch is good. I'm wearing some of the merch right now. It's got a doily.
Yeah, I wanted to
Look at
see
this
more of this
doily.
one. Get back and give me a little spin. Ooh, this is good stuff. I like this.
Yeah, a little Chappell Roan up here. It says Chappell. I'll turn around and give you on the back look. Look at that.
This is Visions of Damsels and Other Dangerous Things 2025. This is a fun all over print here. I like this.
Got her initials on the sleeve. Got the what is this? The R. Yeah, and then the
That's
C.
the R there. I'm guessing that one's probably a C. Look at that.
Chappell
Really good
Roan.
stuff.
Yeah, no, some great merch. I'm a sucker for a band T-shirt. If people are watching, I mean, they know that I'm a huge sucker for a band T-shirt. Just a concert tee is one of my favorite things. But it was a really cool vibe, really good setting. Japanese Breakfast was the opener. I didn't know who Japanese Breakfast was before.
Yeah.
I thought it was very good. Not necessarily the type. Japanese Breakfast wasn't like a type of music that I would necessarily listen to prior going into Chappell Roan, but it's always good to like hear that stuff and be like exposed to like the other kinds of music on night one. What else? Oh, last thing I got on this is Chappell was very she's very emotional about being back in Kansas City, and about like it was so cool for her to be like, she's like to see the city show up for her, because she talked about the importance of just like Hamburger Mary's in Kansas City as well, and like being able to find herself in Kansas City growing up in the Midwest, how kind of outcast she was as growing up as a LGBTQ person in the Midwest, and to be able to create a space for people like that in Kansas City and have the city show out for her. She was very appreciative of everybody showing out for her. And look, I think night 2 I heard was also incredible too. So like it was 2 full jam-packed nights for Chappell. She's got incredible music. Been exposing Jordan Foote to some more Chappell Roan rather than just the Pink Pony Club, right? There's
good.
a lot more than just the Pink Pony Club with Chappell Roan. Very great performer, very great night, very fun vibe. Everything was great, and it was really cool to see the city just kind of show out like that. Like everything was like painted like pink lights everywhere, and everyone was so supportive of Chappell and everything that they had going on. But no, it is really cool, especially as like somebody from Missouri, from Kansas City, to see another Missouri person come on and when they get big still come to Kansas City and still have the city support them as much as they did. Was really cool. That was really cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. And yeah, the only thing I'll add is I'm glad that you were able to talk about the opening act a little bit, because as people who've listened to this show for a few episodes now know, you're actually banned from talking about international breakfasts in any other context. But Japanese breakfast, we actually decided to
Japanese
talk about
breakfast
today.
still good. That's why the local drag performers as well open. Like that was super
Fun,
cool
yeah.
too. So like yeah, they had all kinds of stuff at the old Chappell Roan. She wasn't messing around.
It seemed like an awesome show, and again, like you said, very cool to all of those like citywide events where just like something takes over a chunk of the city, and one that in this case with such like a civic pride attached to it of being like, hey, she's from around here is very, very cool.
Really cool. Yeah.
All right, here's my everything else thing for today. It's a question 4 months in the making. People were asking me this literally 4 months ago, which surprised me in retrospect to double check and to realize that it has actually been 4 months since I got the Nintendo Switch 2. And people have been asking, should I get a Switch 2? Is it worth it? And maybe. My final answer is maybe. It depends on what you have. It depends on what you want. and it depends on how much money you have, probably. So here's what made me think about it again over the weekend. I finally started playing Hades 2, which is not Nintendo exclusive. Not only not Switch 2 exclusive, it's not Nintendo exclusive. You can buy it on Steam. I'm sure it's on console. It just got its full release. It had been in alpha for a long time. And I'd been waiting because I loved Hades 1, and I've just heard great things about 2, so I finally started it this weekend, and it was a delight to the extent that I'm like thinking about when I'm going to have time to play it tomorrow, because I'm not going to have time to play it today, but maybe tomorrow. So I'm very excited to get back to Hades 2. I might talk about that more later on. Yeah. But it runs great on the Switch 2. It's great in handheld mode. It looks great on the TV. Excellent. But again, I could have got that on the Steam Deck. I just got it on the Switch 2 because I have the Switch 2, and it's a slightly better form factor, and it seemed like the way to go. I think there are 2 games out currently that most people are thinking about when they ask about the Switch 2. It's Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Oh, yeah.
There are some other games, and there are other Switch 2 like upgrade packs for the Zelda games, and I haven't gone back to Animal Crossing. I played an absolute bleep ton of that, and I'm kind of afraid to open it back up to just sort of like see what happens. But apparently it runs better on there because it's taking advantage of more processing power with the Switch 2. I've replayed some of the chunks of some of the recent Pokemon games that run much better on the Switch 2. Here's where I'm at on Bonanza, Mario Kart World, Switch 2 altogether. Mario Kart World, which is the game that it launched with, right? And when I found the Switch 2, it was that plus Mario Kart World as a bundle. Mario Kart World is very good. It is not one of those games that takes your life over for like a month when it's just the only thing that you can even think about playing. At least it wasn't for me. I don't know that this statement is entirely fair, because one of these games has been out for 4 months, and one of these games was being added to for years and years and years and years. But if you said that I could only play one Mario Kart game for the rest of my life, I wouldn't take Mario Kart World. I'd probably take 8, which was the last one out on the Switch, that again, they just kept adding and adding and adding races and courses to, and expanding the roster and all of that stuff. Now, maybe Mario Kart World gets more courses added as it goes. Maybe they want to kind of have it be a games of service kind of thing where it just continues to roll it out as the life cycle continues like they did with 8. I'm happy to have Mario Kart World, but right now, if you got through the first wave of FOMO, I don't think you're going to have any more on Mario Kart, because like I've beaten the courses and beaten the survival format or whatever, and the free roam is a cool thing, but it's missing a little bit of direction. So it's a very good game. It's just not my game of the year. Donkey Kong Bonanza might be. Donkey Kong Bonanza is tremendous, and I understand why the Switch launched with Mario Kart, because that's what everybody wants to see more of, but Bonanza is the game to me that sells the Switch 2. Because it is doing things processing-wise the Switch 1 would not be able to do. The entire world is destructible, basically, and you can test that theory and just be bashing through rocks and ground and terrain constantly. It's very fun. It is hard enough to make you lock in for some of the battles and everything, but it's not a difficult game. It's a fun game, and it's an environmental game. So I really like Donkey Kong Bonanza, and so if you've got the Switch 2 and you're wondering, should I buy that game? Yes, you should, absolutely. Is it worth $600 to play Donkey Kong Bonanza? That's between you and your bank account and your family and your God. Like, I don't know, honestly. I can't answer that for you. I did pre-order Pokemon Legends ZA, which is very exciting. And I'm going to put a link in the Substack. By the way, if you go to jbbrisco.com, I do a little write-up after every show. It's a little Substack there where you can get some of the links out to things and whatnot. It's not, I've thought about this already. They're not affiliate links, so I won't make any money if you use them, which feels like an oversight on my part, but I'll throw the Best Buy pre-order. I got a gamer mat coming, Tucker. It's like a big mouse pad with Pokemon map on it. So I'm a cool, frugal guy. I'm going to have one of those, finally.
Mine's just blue
because I spent $70.
I like blue. But
well, mine's gonna have Pokemon because I like Pokemon. And they've already announced DLC. I have not played the Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC, and they've already announced Pokemon DLC, so it's like $100 if you want to get the full everything from the jump, which is like kind of weird. I'm waiting on that for now. And again, I think for like Hades 2, it's great. The Switch ended up being super, super, super useful beyond just Nintendo exclusives, because it also became the best place to play indie games, play smaller games, not even smaller in scope. Like if you're looking to play Nintendo games and indie games, the Switch was a great answer. The Switch 2 is still a great answer to that question. And if you're thinking you want to play a backlog of Nintendo games, you want to play you have a bunch of indie games you haven't played anywhere, and you're wondering, well, I want to play Animal Well. Can I play that on Switch? I think you can. I think I got it on Steam, but I think you can play it on Switch. Then great, yeah, do that. It is a good. It is a very good console handheld thing that I'm sure I'm going to get hours and hours and hours of use out of as the years go by. But I found myself coming back to earth a little bit on Mario Kart. I've beaten Donkey Kong, and I got like a week or two before Pokemon Legends EA. And, Jackie says, I'm convinced there are 0 good indie games. Jackie, you're threatening. I don't have time to expand the Substack post for today, but come back around. Come back around later. And Alex says he loved and hated Animal Well. It's great. Everyone should love it. You should play it. But not while you have other things going on in your life. It needs your undevoted attention for a period of time. So that's where I land now. I understand now that this is not. I've not given you a clear thumbs up, thumbs down. And Pokemon Legends, by the way, is not Switch 2 exclusive. So, like, Renee's going to try to play it on the Switch Lite, which is the smallest, least powerful version of the Switch. I don't know how it's going to perform on that, but we're going to find out. And if that's not a concern to you, then you might be fine with what you've got right now. So, I also realized I got the Switch 1 like a year after it came out. I was not in a hurry for whatever reason at the time. And then when I bought it, it just felt like it had a wealth of games to pick and choose from, and there's still many that I never played that I would like to play. But Brian mentioned Celeste also. You want to shout out an indie game? I tried some Celeste for a while, and then it was too hard for me, which makes it a miracle that I played as much Animal Will as I did. But there you go. There's my Switch 2 review 4 months late, but really I've used it for a while. Again, I was surprised that it's been 4 months because I don't feel like I've been playing it for 4 months. I feel like I have had it for 4 months, and a lot of times after I kind of got through Mario Kart and Bonanza, sort of went back to an expensive decorative piece in the basement for a little while, and now Hades is bringing it out, and Legends EA will bring it out. So that's what I got. Any other pressing questions I can answer for you, Tucker, Switch related or otherwise?
I don't think so. I just started to look up other indie games because Jackie sparked my interest when he said I'm concerned that there are 0 good indie games. Stardew Valley is an indie game, I guess. Yeah. So I mean, I guess that would be considered.
Whatever.
I don't think.
I will put
Bird.
it down in the Angry Birds. So many bird-based games. I don't think that would count, but
well, me either. I was trying to think of
Flappy Bird was
Pokemon. Ever heard of it? Indie game. No.
Yeah. I mean, it was
EA. I mean, NFL. Madden. Ever heard of it? Indie game.
You ever hear College Football 26 from Electronic Arts? I think. Damn.
Boom Beach is what Weston Brewer says. I used to play that game back in high school. I don't play Boom Beach in a long time. That's from Supercell. Love me a good mobile game. We talked about mobile games a couple weeks ago, but
we are going to talk about mobile games and other indie games at a later date. Mercifully, we are at the end of our hour here today. I could talk about indie games for a while. I want to return to this with notes in hand, and we will we'll thread that needle down the line. But we're over an hour. I gotta go do 100 more things. I got pregame coverage starting 3 hours before the game over on 96.5. And then you'll have your KCSN post game. Tucker just looked down at his wrist. I don't even know that it had a watch on it. I just saw you look at your wrist. It's nothing on there. Fantastic. That's the energy for the rest of the day. No watch is necessary. We're just going to assume we're running behind until further notice. So enjoy Monday Night Football. When we come back on Friday, we're going to look back at this game and look ahead to the Lions. Jaguars and Lions.
Sweet.
What is this? The big cat section of the zoo? All right, we'll talk to you again on Friday. Until then, bye, Mom. You guys can't be asking me questions about video games in the chat at the hour mark. It's untenable. I'd love to answer all these questions. I just can't right now because I got other stuff to go do. Remind me of this in like a week. Oh, bring these back for the bye. Yeah, Dave the Diver rules. Dave the Diver's like a top 5 game all time for me. Enjoy your Monday.